Is it really true? He never would have thought of that himself.
You mustn't believe everything.
Hello, stranger. You must be hungry and thirsty. Perhaps I can interest you in my wares.
It was just like you said.
I was actually on my way to see the paladins.
There's little chance of that. Since the paladins made themselves at home in the upper end of town, hardly anyone gets in there anymore.
I'd have gone about it differently.
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
Me? Nah, I don't have much say here myself. There are a few people in the lower city who have enough influence to get you past the guards. Mateo, my boss, is one of them. Maybe you should talk to him.
He never would have thought of that himself.
Where can I find Mateo?
You're standing right outside his shop. Just go on in. He's practically always there.
What about the other influential citizens?
The merchants and master craftsmen here on the main street are the most important figures in the city. You should try to get accepted by one of them as an apprentice like me. Since I started working for Mateo, the people in the city treat me with respect.
This is gonna change.
I need some money, and I'm looking for work.
I've heard that Bosper has trouble with his suppliers. His shop is right over there. They say he pays pretty well.
He doesn't see that.
What do you have to offer?
At the moment, I don't have much choice. The damned landowner doesn't deliver anymore. And what we get from the small farms isn't enough to meet the demands of the city.
It was just like you said.
Tell me more about the peasants' revolt.
It's quite simple. Onar, the fat landowner, won't pay any more taxes to the city. Imagine, we're at war with the orcs, and that fat slob wants everything for himself. Normally, the city guard would take firm measures in such cases. But now comes the best part. They say Onar has hired mercenaries to keep the troops from the city off his back. Mercenaries. The whole thing will end in a damn war, as if one war weren't enough.
Listen to me.
What do you know about Onar's mercenaries?
I heard that most of them are former convicts from the mining colony, and their leader's supposed to have been a big shot with the king, a general or something, whom they put away as a traitor. These are terrible times.
That's all just
Show me your wares.
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
Don't tell me you didn't know that.
Where did you pick that up then?
Is it really true?
You really didn't deserve that. I'm in enough trouble as it is.
You listened to the wrong people.
I don't know why you get so worked up.
That's not what I heard.
We can only wait and see.
Hey, you're new in town, huh?
Thought of that
Yes, and what about you?
I've come from the mainland, and now I'm hanging around here. I'm almost out of gold, so all I can do now is join the militia, I guess. But I don't want to do that. I won't be slaughtered by those orcs on the king's behalf.
I'd have gone about it differently.
What can you tell me about the militia?
One of the paladins has taken command. A certain Lord Andre. He's trying to mobilize half the city in case the orcs attack. But you need to be a citizen of the town in order to be admitted. As far as I know, if you're not a citizen, you can train anyway. But you won't be officially admitted.
But he knew that all along.
What else can you tell me about Lord Andre?
He has taken over the position of judge as well. If you cause any trouble in this town,
That for me.
you're gonna have to answer to him. I was once in a brawl with a citizen. He went crying to Lord Andre and ratted me out. That little matter cost me 50 gold pieces. I was lucky that it happened at night, or others would have witnessed it. The more people complain about you in this town, the higher your penalty will be.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
Who did you fight with?
With a fellow named Valentino.
Pick that up then.
He often hangs out in the tavern near the temple. I'm not usually a violent person, but that guy needed his face rearranged in the worst way.
Has anything exciting happened?
You could say that. They robbed Bosper the bowmaker. What a brazen thing to do, I tell you. The fellow just ambled into the shop in broad daylight and grabbed himself a bow. And Bosper right after him, hollering, "Stop right there, you rogue!"
I'm not telling you
But the thief was too fast.
We can only
Has anything...
Oh well, all
Will it ever change?
this is gonna change.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I already thought as much.
What can I do for you?
What are you selling?
I can offer you everything you need to survive in the wild. Weapons, torches, provisions, even armor. I still have a special piece in stock. Double hardened armor of snapper leather, still unused. Interested?
Show me your wares. What do you know about paladins?
Since these bastards have come to the city, I've had nothing but trouble. The last time I was headed for the upper end of town, the guards flat out stopped me and asked me what was my business there.
And?
Of course they let me in. I had my shop in the city when most of those pompous asses were still chasing pigs with wooden swords. And yesterday, the bastards came and confiscated half of my goods.
The paladins seized your goods.
Everything I had stored in the backyard. They simply posted a guard in front of the entrance to the yard. If I'm lucky, they won't take everything. At least they might leave the armor here.
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
What? What are you going to do there?
I've got an important message.
Well, well. Have you tried getting past the guards?
I don't see why I should even try.
You're probably right. I don't know how important your message is, and it's none of my business. But even if you told them that a ship full of orcs just anchored in the harbor, they'd send you away. Because they have their orders.
So can you help me get into the upper quarter?
It seems to be really important to you. The question is, how important is it to you?
What are you getting at?
I can help you. After all, I'm one of the most influential people here, but it'll cost you.
What are you asking for your help?
100 gold pieces.
That's a whole damn lot.
Take it easy. It isn't your gold I have in mind.
But
In principle, it's my gold. Gritta, the carpenter's niece, hasn't paid what she owes me in ages. But the little brat is constantly running around in new clothes. That means she has the money. I'd like to beat it out of her. But Master Thorben, the carpenter, is also a very influential man. Get me the money and I'll help you.
where can I find this Gritta?
Like I said, she's the carpenter's niece. His house is down the street, the last house on the right before the smithy.
How exactly can you help me?
Quite simple. I'll use my influence to see to it that one of the master craftsmen here takes you on as an apprentice. As such, you'll practically be a citizen of the city and can enter the upper quarter. Besides which, you'll earn something while you're at it.
Help me sign on as an apprentice with one of the masters.
One thing at a time. First fulfill your part of the deal and bring me the gold.
Where could I sign on as an apprentice then?
Basically, with any master here on the main street. That would be Harrod the smith, Bospa the bowmaker, Thorben the carpenter, or Constantino the alchemist. One of them is bound to take you on. But it's important that the other masters agree. That's always been the custom here in Khorinis.
How do I get the approval of the other masters?
You just have to convince them. Go and talk to them. But if more than one of them is against you, you don't stand a chance, so behave yourself.
Why don't you take me on as an apprentice?
I would, but the other masters wouldn't agree. I just recently took on another apprentice.
Is there another way to get into the upper quarter?
Perhaps. If I think of anything, I'll let you know.
Help.
One thing.
That's all just
Got my
gossip.
own opinion about that.
Welcome to my shop, stranger. I am Basper. I craft bows and trade in furs. What brings you to Khorinis?
I need to get into the upper quarter.
Where the paladins are? Forget it. You need to be a respected citizen here, or at least hold a decent job. As a stranger, you stand no chance of getting in.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. The last one just gave up his job 2 days ago. Do you know anything about hunting then?
Well...
I could teach you how to skin animals. I'll pay you well for every skin you bring me.
I want to start as your apprentice.
Before I take you on, I need to know, of course, whether you're any good at all.
What do you want me to do for you?
I will teach you how to skin an animal, and you will bring me, let's say, half a dozen wolf skins. Then I'll know that you have learned your trade. If it doesn't take you forever, and if the skins are in acceptable condition, I will take you on if you like.
Teach me how to skin animals.
Right. You bring...
What if I want to sign on with one of the other masters?
Balderdash. Herod and Matteo already have apprentices. Constantino the alchemist is a loner, and he hasn't taken an apprentice in years. And as for Thorben, everyone knows he's dead broke. He probably couldn't even pay you. I, on the other hand, am in urgent need of an apprentice, and I pay well too. But no matter where you want to sign on, you need the approval of all other masters from the lower part of town.
Will I get your approval to sign up with a different master?
All right. You shall work for me, at least for a short time. That way, you can find out for yourself whether you like my craft or not. And who knows? Maybe you'll end up liking it, and you'll stay with me. If you're good enough to sign on with me, you're also good enough for all others here.
Why did your apprentice give up his job?
All he said was that it had become too dangerous out there. If you're really interested, then you can ask him yourself. His name is Bartok. He's probably hanging out near Corrigan's Tavern. Go through the underpass from the smithy, then you're headed straight for it.
I've heard that someone stole from you.
Who told you that? Probably Bartok, huh? Didn't he have anything better to tell you? Oh, well. Let me tell you, if I get hold of this bastard, he can say his prayers. I left the shop for only a moment. When I came back, I could only just see him leave, with my bow on his shoulder. I called the guards right away, but the lowlife ran towards the harbor, and they lost him there. I lit a bonfire under their asses then, and they searched the entire harbor district. But they didn't find a thing. Those bumbling lackeys. I bet my bow is still in town somewhere. I informed the guards on both city gates, and they haven't seen anyone leave with my bow. When I get my hands on that bastard...
Show me your wares.
Got my own opinion about that.
He never would have thought of that himself.
It's quite obvious.
Nobody will learn anything from me.
Ah, fresh face. You're not from Khorinis, are you? This is not a good time for travelers. Bandits everywhere, no work, and now the farmers have risen up too. What winds have blown you here?
I'm looking for work.
Do you know anything about carpentry?
The only thing I can make out of wood is a fire.
And what about locks?
Well...
I'm sorry, but I can't use you if you know nothing about my trade. And I have no money to pay for an apprentice.
What if I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the other masters here?
All right, I shall give you my approval. But you had better get yourself the blessing of the gods first. Say, are you a man of faith?
It's really not my problem.
Yes, a most humble servant, Master Thorben.
Then go to Vatras, the priest of Adanos, and have him give you his blessing. He will tell you where you can find a priest of Innos. You should get his blessing too. Once you have received the blessing of the gods, I shall vote for you.
How about your approval, Master?
Has Vatra...
Not yet.
Then I don't know why you're asking me again. You know my terms.
That doesn't surprise me.
So, you know a lot about locks.
What good is a fine chest without a fine lock? I make my own locks. That way, I can at least be sure I haven't built my chest that sturdy for nothing. A poorly made lock is easy to break, and there are plenty of thieves about in Khorinis, especially lately.
Can you teach me how to pick locks?
I don't know whether you can be trusted or not. For all I know, you might be one of those layabouts who only come to town to empty the chests of honest people. I'm not going to teach you anything before I'm convinced that you're an honest fellow.
Can you sell me some lockpicks?
Well, all right, but they won't be of any use to you as long as you don't know how they work.
What do you know about the paladins?
Not much. They arrived by ship 2 weeks ago from the mainland. Since then, they have withdrawn to the upper end of town. Nobody here really knows exactly why they have come. Many are afraid of an attack by the orcs. I suppose, however, that they are here to quell the farmers' rebellion.
Do you know anything about the peasants' rebellion?
Rumor has it that Onar, the landowner, has hired mercenaries to keep the king's troops from breathing down his neck. He was probably tired of having to throw his harvest along with his livestock at paladins and militia. All we notice of this in town is that the food prices keep rising. Onar's farm lies far to the east of here. We wouldn't know if there's any fighting going on there. And if you want to know more, ask the merchants in the marketplace. They get around the island more than I do.
What do you want, stranger? If you've come to beg, I must disappoint you. I am a poor widow. My name is Greta. Ever since my husband died, I have been running the household for my uncle Thorben.
Matteo sent me. You still owe him some gold.
He wants his money? What for? The goods he delivered were flawed, bad fabric, and bad seams. And did you look at the colors? Those are not the colors I ordered. That's fraud, that is. Let me tell you, back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband. Such a good man he was. Handsome, hardworking, a gentleman of the old school. We had it all. Wealth, happiness. Sometimes we were even invited to high society events. The festivities, all the beautiful clothes and hairdos, the fine dining and civilized conversations. Everything was better back then. No one would have dared to humiliate the heart of a poor widow with such ridiculous claims. Whatever shall I do? My pension is barely enough to make ends meet, and times are getting even rougher. One sees it everywhere. People must scrimp and save. It's been weeks since the last ship came to town. My husband was the captain of a merchant ship. Actually, he even owned the ship. From his long journeys, he always brought me presents. Exquisite fabrics from the mainland, precious spices from the southern countries. Most people haven't even heard of these things. But then, one day, I got the tidings that the Greta had sunk. That was the name of the ship. My husband called it that out of love for me. I wept and prayed that my husband had survived the disaster. Every day I hoped to hear from him, but all my longing was in vain. May Innos have mercy on his soul. May he rest in peace. Since that time, I have been living under these modest circumstances, and now this soulless, callous Mateo is after the last bit of my life savings. Please have mercy on a poor woman. Back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband. Such a good man he was. Handsome, hardworking.
Cut it out. Where's the gold?
But I don't have the gold. I'm only a poor widow.
I'm gonna pay the sum for you.
You would do that for me? Oh, I knew you weren't a greedy bastard like that Mateo.
Yeah, never mind.
Come back once you've taken care of that. I want to show you my gratitude.
Here's your 100 gold pieces.
You want to pay for her? I'd have preferred it if you'd squeezed it out of her. Still, 100 gold pieces is 100 gold pieces. You've held up your part of the deal.
Help me sign on as an apprentice with one of the masters.
Don't worry. I'll keep my part of the bargain. The other masters will only hear the best about you from me.
It was very noble of you to pay for me. I want to show you my gratitude. Here's a bottle of wine which my husband, may Innos rest his soul, brought back from the southern islands. Also, I'm going to spread the news around. At last there's somebody in town whose virtue...
Yeah, never mind.
As long as there are men like you in this...
Can you teach me how to pick locks?
You have paid Gritta's debt with Mateo. You seem to be a decent fellow. I shall teach you what you want to know. However, I cannot do it for free. I still have a mountain of debts, and I need the money.
How much do you charge?
200 gold pieces.
Fine. Here are 200 gold pieces.
You're still a few coins short of 200. I need that money.
New in the city, huh? I'm Brian. I'm Master Harrod's apprentice.
What's it like to be the smith's apprentice?
Why do you ask? You want to be my successor?
Maybe.
Why not? I'm almost done with my apprenticeship, and then I'm gonna leave the city. But not because of Harrod. He is a good master. I've learned a lot from him.
Why do you want to leave this town?
Because the people here are getting on my nerves above all the other masters. I still remember what a fuss it was getting accepted as an apprentice with Harrod. Really, every one of them jokers had something to say about it. I want to decide for myself who I can or can't take as an apprentice.
Who are the other masters?
Well, there's Thorpen the carpenter. He sells armor. But first of all the masters have their houses here, and Constantino's shop is in the...
Tell me more about Master Harrod.
He's not in a very good mood right now. A few days ago, the paladins came and ordered him to forge some swords for them. They've even forbidden him to sell swords to anyone else. Now he slaves day and night to finish the job as quickly as possible.
Can I buy weapons from you?
Not really. I'm merely an assistant. The weapons that are made in this smithy are collected by the militia and taken to the towers where they're stored. But if it has anything to do with forging, maybe I can help you.
What can I get from you?
I can sell you some steel billets.
What do you want?
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. Brian will have finished his apprenticeship soon, and then he'll leave the city. Are you good for anything?
If you mean, do I know blacksmith's work?
No, that's not what I meant. Sooner or later, the orcs are going to lay siege to the city, and then the only men who will count will be those who are in a position to defend our city. And I won't take on anyone as an apprentice who will disgrace me by fleeing the city with the women and the good-for-nothings, instead of holding the fort here with the men.
It can't go on like this forever.
I'm not a good-for-nothing.
Those are big words. Can you back them up with big deeds?
What are you getting at?
Bring me an orc's weapon. Orcs have been seen near the city. With a bit of luck, you won't have to search for long. If you manage to bring one down, I'll take you on as an apprentice. Provided the other masters agree.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Let's talk again about that orc thing.
What?
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
An orc is a damn tough opponent.
Looking at you, you might be right. You don't have much meat on your bones. But that can change. Nevertheless, you have to prove to me that you have the courage to fight.
So, couldn't it be something slightly smaller?
Hakon, the weapons dealer in the marketplace, told me that he was attacked by bandits a few days ago. The bastards are said to be roaming around somewhere outside the East Gate. Those cowardly rogues shouldn't be terribly bright. Hunt the bastards down. Every single one of them. Then I'll know that we can use you here in the city.
When can I start as your apprentice?
Not before you've proven to me that you're good for something.
Can I sign on as an apprentice with a different master?
The other masters may well approve, but I will only give you my approval when you first prove that you're good for something.
Where did you pick that up, then?
Do you sell weapons too?
Forget it. Everything I make goes to the paladins or the militia. I have a commission for 100 swords from Lord Hagen. He wants to equip the city guard.
Hey, you!
What do you want? There's nothing to be had here for free, and I'm not gonna sell you anything either.
I'm looking to become an apprentice.
Really? And with whom are you gonna sign up?
I want to sign up with one of the other masters.
You have come to ask my approval? As far as I'm concerned, you can sign up with whoever you like.
I want to sign up with you as an apprentice.
With me? No! I have already had the dubious pleasure once of grappling with an apprentice. That's quite enough for me. I invested several years in his education, and in the end, the poor fool up and poisoned himself. Go sign up with one of the other masters.
What will I have to do to become your apprentice?
I couldn't bear yet another dilettante on my conscience. There is a multitude of herbs out there. Used in different variations, they develop the most diverse effects. You probably don't even know half of them. Here. This is a list of the most important plants. Bring me a plant of each kind, and I might reconsider taking you in as an apprentice.
About the plants.
If you cannot handle that by yourself, you won't be any good as an alchemist either.
I see. Show me.
And thus spake Adanos to his brothers, "Never again shall you walk upon my land, for it is sacred, and so shall it be."
What have we here?
Have you no manners? That's
But the human
disgusting.
and the beast
Oh, is this
waged
filthy
war
rabble?
upon the land
Haven't
of
you a
Adanos,
job where
and
you
the
ought to
wrath
be?
of the
But I
gods
suppose
was
no
with
one would
them.
miss a down-at-heel fellow like you, hey? Well, if you had as much gold as I do,
And
you
the
wouldn't
human
have to work
slew
either.
the beast,
But
and
you'll
it
never be
entered
that
into
rich.
Beliar's
I see I'm gonna have
realm.
lots of fun with you. Do you have anything else to tell me?
Make yourself popular, never promise anything to anyone, take what you can, and watch out that you don't get into a quarrel with the militia. Or with jealous husbands, of course. They're the worst, let me tell you.
And Enos, in his wisdom, did so.
I asked you who you are.
I am Valentino, the handsome. Poor in cares, rich in wisdom and gold, and the women throw themselves at me. If you have problems, keep them.
For the day in which the beast would return to the land.
Hey.
Adonis be with you.
Who are you?
I am Vatras, a servant of Adonis, the guardian of the divine and earthly equilibrium. What can I do for you?
I'm asking your blessing.
Why should I give you my blessing, stranger?
I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the masters in the lower part of town.
I may give you my blessing, stranger, but I know nothing about you. Tell me about yourself.
What do you want to know?
Well, you could tell me where you come from and why you have come to the city.
I carry an important message for the leader of the Paladins.
What is this message?
A large army is gathering as we talk, led by dragons and determined to conquer the country.
Dragons? You speak of beings which until now have only been mentioned in legends. How do you know this?
Zardas, the magician, told me. He sent me to warn the Paladins.
The necromancer? So he lives, and he sent you. Who are you really?
I'm a former convict from the penal colony of Khorinis. And will you give me your blessing now?
Good. Let us summarize. You are a former prisoner who has been told by Zardas, the necromancer, that dragons have come to conquer the country. And you have come to report this to the Paladins. That all sounds rather fantastic, but I cannot perceive that you are lying to me. Therefore, I must assume that your motives are honorable. Go with the blessing of Adonis, my son.
Where can I find a priest of Enos?
The best thing would be to look around the marketplace. You will find an emissary of the monastery there.
Hey.
Can I get a drink here?
As long as you have gold, you can even eat here if you want.
Show me a... And how's business going?
Ah, don't remind me. Lord Andre is serving free beer at the Gallows Square. Hardly anybody comes here now, except for the rich people from the upper quarter.
What's wrong with them?
Some of those swells can really get on your nerves. Take that Valentino, for instance. I can't stand the sight of him. But I can't pick my customers. I need every coin I can make. The little I had managed to save has been stolen, along with all my silver.
You've been robbed?
Well, it's been a while already. It was still rather crowded that night, and I was doing the round serving beer. I wasn't gone long from behind the counter, but it was long enough for those bastards. I went to see the militia about it, but they couldn't find a thing, of course. They prefer to get plastered on free beer.
What is it with this Valentino?
He's filthy rich and has no need to work. And he brags about it to everyone, whether you want to hear it or not. He drinks a lot and always stays until the end. Then, early in the morning, he totters back to the upper quarter. It's the same every day.
What do I have to do to get into the upper quarter?
You need to be a citizen of the preferably with the craftsmen, and if that's still not enough, maybe he'll let you join the city guard.
From this moment onward, Lord Andre will take the supreme command of our militia. All the citizens of this city who have martial skills at their disposal are herewith urged to join the royal militia.
Lord Andre is springing for a few barrels of free beer.
Hey, what's up?
As long as the paladins don't have any new assignments for me, I can have myself a couple of beers here. What more could you ask?
You're working for the paladins?
Well, yeah, I report to them on the situation in the city. At the moment, everything is quiet.
How are things with the orcs?
No reason to worry. We in the city guard and the paladins have everything under control. Go home and let us do our work. We're watching over the town and its citizens. Oh.
Would you like another beer?
There's nothing better than a cool ale.
You were about to say something about the orcs.
Oh, yeah, right. The orcs are absolutely no threat to the city. They're stuck in the Valley of Mines, and the pass is held by the paladins. Not even a meat bug could get through there.
Would you like another beer?
Well, I won't say no to a decent pint.
They've even spotted an orc outside of town.
Yeah, right. The dangerous orc outside the city. A real monster of an orc. Well, he's bound to attack the city soon. Listen, we'll kick that fat orc in his fat ass if he comes too close to the city. Got it?
I see. Would you like another beer?
A tasty bitter apple.
Some problems solve themselves. You listen to the wrong people.
You know, you don't often meet someone who'll treat you to a beer.
He never would have thought of that himself.
You're all right.
Some problems solve themselves.
Hear ye, inhabitants of Khorinis.
What are you doing
By
here?
the explicit
I'm a
order of
novice
the
from the
Honorable Lord
monastery.
Hagen,
I
the
run
following
errands for
decree
the
is
magicians
hereby
and
enacted
also the
by reason of the imminent
I
danger
have
of an attack
provided
by
the 3
orcs.
innkeepers in the
Each
city with
inhabitant of the
wine
city
from the
is to
monastery.
prepare himself accordingly. Everyone is to begin training in the skills of combat immediately and to arm himself appropriately.
Who are the 3 innkeepers?
One of them is the good man here behind the bar. Then there is Kerrigan, who has his tavern on the Temple Square, and Cardiff, the owner of the tavern in the Harbor District.
What can you tell me about the monastery?
We novices seek enlightenment in prayer to Innos and learn the principles of faith from the magicians. We serve them as we serve Innos and prepare ourselves for the union with the fire.
Well, take me to the monastery.
Forget it. Do you know how many creatures I had to evade on the way? When I think of all those bloodflies, wolves, and goblins, I'm glad that I don't have to leave here anymore. Besides, you can't enter the monastery anyway.
Why not?
Entrance is only permitted to magicians, paladins, and novices.
How can I become a novice?
If a man feels the deep desire...
Hey, just tell me what the conditions are.
You need the offerings, a sheep and 1,000 gold pieces.
How am I supposed to get that much gold?
Since you obviously don't know anyone who would pay that for you, you'll simply have to go to work.
Where can I find a sheep?
From the farmers, of course. But you won't get one for nothing.
Hear ye, inhabitants of Khorinis. But don't bother me, I'm on duty.